Everything is trauma now. Trauma comes in like 57 different terms, if not more.
Everybody just wants to blame something else. What you do is you wake up and you're 60 years old and you realize that you didn't do shit.
And not only are you victimizing yourself, you're saying, who is the villain in my story that caused this to me?
Society-wise, it's caused everybody to be more like...
Fragile?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With
100%.
everything.
And that's where I think therapy is great at uncovering those childhood wounds, terrible at getting you out of it.
I'm thankful for many things that I wasn't appreciative before with my parents, the way that they raised me, because I have discipline, I have accountability, I have toughness.
Yes.
And yeah, some of the stuff sucked at the time, but had I not had that, I wouldn't have a lot of the different characteristics that I have that I appreciate now. Now, could it have been conveyed differently? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe you don't get tough that way. I don't know. But do you feel like society-wise, it's caused everybody to be more like...
Fragile?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With
100%.
everything.
And I typically say, like, Dylan, I can go back and say, like, I think between the new therapy language, trauma, triggers, boundaries, all of that is feeding into it. And what regular childhood hardships were have now turned into everything is trauma.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's regular childhood hardships. Your parents did not have the language, the capacity, everything that we have at our fingertips now. And that's the problem. Everything is trauma now. You go into a therapy room and they're uncovering all of your traumas, and they've got so many different, they've got PTSD, they got this, they like trauma comes in like, I don't even know, 57 different terms, if not more at this point. So what happens when you do that is now you're labeling your hardships.
Yeah.
And when you label your hardships, you're victimizing yourself. And not only are you victimizing yourself, you're saying, who is the villain in my story that caused this to me? So then you're stuck there. You're literally stuck in that place. And that's where I think therapy is great at uncovering those childhood wounds, terrible at getting you out of it once they've uncovered it.
And that's just it. I have this just terrible, I don't want to use the word hatred, but I have a disdain for a lack of accountability. And I feel like that everybody's looking to put it on something else or blame it on something else. I'm not saying to blame yourself for everything, because that's going too far. And that's what people do. They go to extremes. But most people don't just sit and look in the mirror and ask themselves.
Yes.
Because when you have to look directly in the mirror at yourself, can you really, if you're that good of a liar, you can lie to yourself, then I don't know really what to do with you.
Yeah, you're right. Because there's a difference between personal accountability. And I typically say, like, if you look in the mirror, it's going to be one of two people. One, you love who you see in the mirror. And if that's the case, cool. Thank everybody in your life who got you here, including the parents that weren't so great.
Right.
Two, if you don't love the person in front of you, cool. That's for you to change, nobody else.
Right.
And a lot of people, I think the reason why they're scared of personal accountability is because they start to think, could I be a bad person? Like, am I a bad person? Like, but just because you have areas of opportunity to grow in doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that there's some things that you're not great at, and it's okay to improve. And people need to be able to have that conversation. How am I contributing to the situation, and what do I need to do different? So instead of saying, why did they do this to me, which is very victim mentality, it's like, no, what do I have control over? And that's, I think, why we have such a fragile society, because people are playing the blame game instead of looking at themselves and saying, pardon my French, shit, I got to do something different because this is, I'm contributing to this.
Everybody just wants to blame something else. Oh, it's because of my race, or oh, it's because the cards I was dealt, or oh, my parents didn't have money, or oh, this, or oh, that. Dude, I mean, when does it end and when does it stop? And otherwise, what you do is you wake up and you're 60 years old and you realize that you didn't do shit.
It becomes excuses to your own failures.
Yes.
The things that you failed to show up on, you have to excuse it by blaming somebody else, because it's a hard pill to swallow to say, I didn't make very good choices and this is really shitty and it's my fault.
I became really good at looking in the mirror and saying, dude, you better do something right now. It took me going to prison. That's what it took for me.
Right.
And then I was able to be accountable for everything that I did. I don't recommend doing that to anybody.
Dylan, I have my fair share of stories too, so I get it.
But,
like, I grew up in community housing.
So then you understand.
Yeah.
When you get good at that, you get better at life. You don't get perfect. I suck at so many things. I can admit it. I have no problem admitting it, but it makes me work at it the next day.
Right.
It forces me to.
Right.
And I think the people, they either set ridiculous standards for themselves that they can't have, or they become fragile, like you said.
Right.
Do you feel like that fragility is one of the things that causes so many separations of parent to child?
In all relationships, even divorce and everything, right? I want to go back to your story on the prison because it's really interesting. I don't often talk about this, but I was at the wrong place at the wrong time and was charged with something that was technically not my fault. and it literally was not my fault. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But it's a perfect example of, in those moments, you really do realize that the blame game is going to get me nowhere. I have to do something. Like, I've got so much, I have to do something for myself. What am I going to do? Because they don't give a crap who I blame. I'm here. This is the scenario. So like, sometimes you're thrown into these hard situations that you should never be in, but you have a choice at that point. And it's like, I find that when that kind of perspective change happens, you're like, I'm never going to put my fate in anybody else's hands.
No.
Ever. And so when you talk about the fragility, 100%, that's, I think what's happening is people don't know how to, first, the parents over coddle, over give, don't say no to their kids, do all of that. And there's no blame on the parent because they thought they're trying to save them from the hardships that they went through. But then that creates a child who doesn't know that real world is freaking hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy. You're going to go through stuff. You have to learn how to communicate better. You're going to have things that are going to trigger you every single day. If you want to protect your peace, get so solid in who you are so that things no longer trigger you. That's as simple as that, because, you know, full peace doesn't exist. Let's be honest. It's who you are on the inside. And so being so grounded. So people don't have that capacity. People haven't gone through hardships to build the capacity to say, oh my God, I was in the valley of despair and that darkness for so long, and I came out on top, and I'm so strong, and nothing's going to pull me down, and no one's going to pull me down. People are afraid of that valley of despair.
I know.
So they run out of it, and then they go back to their little shiny object and relationships and everything. And I think that is why relationships are falling apart. Parent to child, marriages, everything, is because people don't want to do the work, and they're blaming. I'm blaming my husband for his behavior. I'm blaming my wife for their behavior. I'm blaming my child. I'm blaming my parents. Because they don't want to recognize that maybe you can approach the situation differently, change your perspective, learn a different kind of way of communication, which is a big thing that I talk about. That all has a direct correlation with the health of your relationships.